excited. I think it's gonna be good.
Hey, I'm Shawn Kanungo. This is another episode of Dangerous Ideas. In this podcast, what we do is we break down concepts and frameworks that will change your life. Okay, change your business, your career, your life. And I'm really excited having one of the pod OGs on, Qashus. Qashus, thank you so much for being on, man.
Appreciate you, man. Congrats on the pod.
Listen, I just, by the way, announced it yesterday, even though I've been pumping episodes. This is episode number 9.
Sheesh.
And, part of the reason why I didn't announce it is because I wanted to get the reps in, even right now. This is still, I feel like episode 9 is still experimental. You guys, I don't know how many episodes that you guys have done, but I feel like the first 100 are experimental, and then you then you figure it out.
No, I feel that, especially the first 10 weeks of doing the pod. Same sort of deal. I remember the feeling.
Yeah, you're just just trying to figure out what it's going to look like, the aesthetic, the feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Because with your guys' pod, you guys moved into a different studio after how many episodes? Because I remember going to your the actual second floor podcast.
Yeah, exactly. We were in that office. We were actually switching a bunch of spots, but we were there for about a year.
Yeah.
A year and a bit before we moved into the spot that we are today.
And you guys are always moving though. You guys are always in different spots.
We try to switch it up. It's kind of fun when you go to different spots sometimes too. Yeah. Like I did a pod with a good friend of mine in San Diego. That's going to drop soon. So the vibe is San Diego background, fireplace.
Love it.
Has that Cali sort of West Coast vibe. So I don't know. I at this point, 4 years in, you just like to have fun with it. Sometimes let's switch it up. Let's go to my office. Let's go here. Let's go there. So, but main spot we have is the spot we have now. So
yeah. Well, it's funny because we're having this conversation, and I have a whole bunch of concepts that I want to get to, but just to start it off, one of the things that we were chatting about was the whole idea of a podcast. Why have a podcast? Why would people listen to a podcast? And actually, part of the reason why I broke down this podcast the way that it is because of conversations that we had. And it's the idea that, listen, at the end of the day, people are here to be honest with you, they're here for me. Right? And they're here for the ideas. They're here to build a relationship with the host and getting famous guests or doing these interview pods. I don't know. I don't think they're as valuable, but what do you think?
I mean, I think there's a lane for it for sure, but I think I definitely resonate with what you say is people come for the host. People come for the platform that you're building. They come for you. So I'm a total believer in that. But I mean, if you're like the Nelk boys and you got David Goggins, Grant Cardone, these sort of big heavy hitters on social media, of course it's going to get views. Of course it's going to get some engagement. Right. It's going to get you some exposure. Totally. Right. But I totally resonate with the you can build your own niche, you can build your own audience. There's many different examples after our conversation where there's a ton of independent artists that have their own podcasts and their own little fan bases, and they're killing it.
Yeah. So actually, that is the first concept I want to break down. Mm-hmm. So the first concept of this pod is this idea of this one true fan versus sort of the mass appeal, the mass market. One true fan. It's the idea that if you cater to a particular type of individual, you will find that individual, around the world.
Yeah.
And so the idea of having a monoculture, the idea of having something that appeals to everyone, I think is dead. And you can see examples of this because, for example, if you go to a party and you drop your favorite artist, your favorite YouTuber, your favorite TikToker, your Instagrammer, whoever, your favorite show.
Yeah.
There is you will never be able to find today somebody or something that connects everyone together. It's impossible. Everything is so fragmented. So if you want to build an audience, to have one true fan, and for somebody like yourself, who's not only a artist but also a podcaster, what are your thoughts on this idea of finding the one true fan, or do you disagree with it?
No, I agree with it, but I think actually guys that I follow online, I've seen many different examples. One artist that I'll give a shout out to is a guy named Connor Price from Toronto.
Okay.
And I followed him on TikTok maybe a year and a half ago. And again, sort of just kind of doing his own thing. He's rapping, but he has these like really, really dope TikToks where he has this like super like unique hook at the beginning. I don't know if you've probably seen this where he'll like open the door and he's the producer, but he's also the rapper. So like open the door and be like, yo, I'm just here to like, throw a beat real quick. Like my girl just left me. I need to vent. And then it's just like back and forth with the angles. He's the producer, but he's also the rapper. He gets on the mic.
See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You're mentioning somebody. Never heard of the guy in my life.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just like, he's been able to build, like he's got 8 million followers on Spotify, 7 million on TikTok.
Wow. What's his name?
Connor Price.
Connor Price.
From
Sorry,
Toronto.
brother. Never heard of you.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing is like, I never heard of him.
Yeah.
His music's decent. Like it's good. But he's found a way to market himself and brand himself and come up with a creative concept that is taken off on TikTok.
Totally.
Right.
And it appeals to a particular fan base.
And what really like gets me, man, is that this guy's never performed ever in his life. He's never performed on stage. He just announced that he's going on tour with a few other artists. And he's like, oh, this is my first time performing. And this guy's got 8 million followers on Spotify.
Wow.
He's never performed in front of a real audience. So that example really inspires me.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yo, like,
I think that's
he
great.
has his own lane. He's now going on tour. He's making money off his music. And now, again, he has his own branches and lanes of videos. But it just shows that example of you can have your own niche and nobody in the mainstream will know who you are.
100%. And actually, I was bringing this up with the guys on the last pod, is that I don't think that you can name an artist in the last 5 years that have made it without social media, and that you can't name a star in the last 5 years that everybody knows. So if you look at the current artists, let's just go hip hop because that's what we talk about.
Yeah.
Drake,
Yeah.
Kendrick. Like, who are the biggest artists? Maybe Jack Harlow, but even Jack Harlow is almost at the 5-year mark.
Yeah.
And I still, to this day, I don't think everybody knows who Jack Harlow is.
No. You saw that one with the ref, right? The ref didn't even
That's
know who
right.
was at the
That's
Celtics
right.
game. Yeah.
But can you name an artist that everybody knows in the last 5 years? Maybe Zendaya.
Yeah.
Like from an artist perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. No, you're right.
So now we live in a world where it's completely fragmented. And so we don't have to cater to the entire world. Just cater to your particular audience. I'll give you an example of this. I announced this podcast yesterday on my social feed, on Instagram and on Twitter, right? And I know that, my friends, my true friends, God bless them. I love my friends. They're not going to listen to this pod. They're not interested, right? Fine, they'll give me a like. They're not interested. I'm on the path of finding that one true fan. And once I find that one true fan, then hopefully I can find that same person in Bangladesh, in the Philippines, in Qatar. Like, I can find that one true fan everywhere, because there is that particular person that will love this particular podcast and the things that we talk about and the concepts that we talk about. And I need to find that. I don't need, I'm not here to appease everyone. I'm not here to get everybody to listen to this pod. I don't want to. I just want to find the people that are really into this to find it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. There's so many examples of this, but even, I think the 1,000 True Fans, I think the guy that actually
Kevin Kelly,
he was on the Tim Ferriss
Yes.
show, and he was talking about this. He's like, there's so many people in the world, there's over billions of people in the world. It's like you can find 1,000 that will really, really mess with you, that 100%. really, really will love your concepts and ideas and videos and creativity.
Yeah. So. Well, the Kevin Kelly's idea of 1,000 True Fans is that if you get 1,000 people to pay you like $10 a month, then you can essentially build an amazing living and do whatever you want for the rest of your life with those 2,000 True Fans.
Yeah.
And I think now you're starting to see that, obviously, with Patreon and all these different OnlyFans and all these different sites where you can actually just have 1,000 people and live a really great life.
Yeah, absolutely. And the idea of some people don't want to put themselves out there like that, though. You know what I mean? Like the painters just want to paint. Some painters just want to paint. They don't want to create TikToks and go into the algorithms and things like that and put themselves out there on social. However, the opportunity of now building a team is intriguing to me, where now you see guys that are making, you know, a salary off being YouTube managers.
Yes.
Right. And editors and content creators, or you have these business managers that work with the artist. And all of a sudden now you have this full blown business off what you're doing. So I think, like, you know, as someone who paints or someone who wants to just focus on their art and creativity, you know, obviously do the best you can. And then, you know, as you post it and you find individuals who can elevate and bring that to light. You don't have to be the guy that understands the YouTube algorithm.
Yes.
You don't have to be the one that understands the TikTok or Instagram algorithm. Find the individuals who are excited about what you're doing.
Right. That's great.
And then scale.
Yes. Yeah. That's great advice. Find the people that are sort of ninjas in their particular field.
Yeah.
And that will help you scale.
You will find someone who's obsessed with the TikTok algorithm or the YouTube algorithm and trying to scale and trying to be in the creative space or the YouTube space. And they're like agents, they're like sports agents. They want to find that player that they can rep and be a part of at the startup phase, where there maybe 500 people that really like you or whatever, and they're like, no, your stuff is incredible. Let's blow this up.
Love that.
Right? So
I love that. So you listen, if you know the TikTok algorithm, help me. For God's sakes. Actually, I was in TikTok jail for like a number of months.
Really?
For a year, and now I'm out of jail. Like, now the algorithm likes my stuff now because.
Oh, really?
Maybe it's because of the AI stuff. I don't know. But,
oh, no way.
But you know, this brings up my next concept, which is the idea that, unfortunately, and I say this with peace and love, that unfortunately, fame is currency today. Now, I say unfortunately because talking about fame is uncouth. It's disgusting, okay? The people that are striving for fame, it's just you know, we just hate people that are going for fame. It's just disgusting, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the way that the world works today, fame is the greatest source of, you know, customer acquisition. It reduces your cost of getting things done. It reduces the cost of you opening the doors for folks. And in a increasingly more digital world, we're spending more of our time on our phones. Unfortunately, it actually pays to have fame. I mean, if you look at some of the biggest creators today, they've been using their fame and having that tight, you know, creator product fit where they're able to actually scale companies. I'll give you an example of this. There was a company called Momentous Protein. This company was in absolute obscurity for years, was not doing anything. 19-year-old founder was trying to get this company going. Every year, their board of directors would meet. There would be no traction. A couple of years ago, they made a strategic partnership with Dr. Andrew Huberman. You know, Huberman, #1 health and fitness podcaster in the world. Simply by making that elegant integration with Andrew Huberman, who has a deep affinity, well, like his audience has a deep affinity with him. Literally, that company blew up overnight. It 20x overnight because of a relationship with Andrew Huberman. And that's a beautiful example of a product creator fit or a creator product fit. And if you can find those really nice examples of individuals that have deep relationships and fame, and they stand for something with a particular product, it's game over. You look at Logan Paul and Prime and what they're doing. You look at, you know, Kardashians and Skims. That's a tight integration, right? It makes sense. And of course, you know, that's why it's one of the most influential companies in the world. So unfortunately, fame is currency.
It is 100%. I don't know if you know the guys from Alpha Elite.
Yeah.
Christian Guzman, Max Chewing, all these guys who've built.
So what was the story of these guys beforehand? Were they?
They were on YouTube, man.
Yeah, okay.
They were on YouTube since 20 years old, and they have their videos till this day. Like 20-year-old Christians walking around with a camera, vlogging, talking about, you know, I want to be in the fitness space. I want to open my own gym. Fast forward, he opens his own gym, or starts his own clothing brand. It's called CG Fitness. Tries that and then decides he wants to have this organization called Alpha Elite.
Yep.
Athlete and, kind of the alpha sort of personality type. And then through that, he's found his fans. He was making, I think it was like 40 grand a month off just coaching initially as like a 22-year-old. So he drops out of college.
Yep.
Goes full time into YouTube, builds his own gym. Long story short, where I was going with this is, I think I think he has revenues 100 million.
Wow.
Past just from the clothing brand itself.
Yep.
Gym, all this.
And that's an example of a creator product fit. Like they were fitness YouTubers.
Yep.
Right? And then of course with the gym, it's a fitness brand.
Yep.
It totally makes sense. It's so tight.
Yep. And all that sort of the benefit has seeped into his friends around him. Their friends have been able to build businesses and side brands and side clothing brands. And one guy, I think his name's Shawn he has same thing, a clothing brand, but it's focused on shorts. So he's elevated shorts like in the fitness space. Max Tuning, he has sour strips. And sour strips they just passed selling 1 million boxes worth of candy. They're just like little like sour strips.
I love it.
And that's just based off, like you said, that product creator. The only reason people buy is because of Max.
100%.
Right? And he's pushing the brand. He's in front of the camera. He's the one creating the videos every single week.
And you still have to have a great product.
Of course, yeah.
Right? You still have to have a great product. But I believe the reason why people buy Teslas, you have a Tesla.
I do, yeah.
So I think part of the reason why people buy Teslas is not only because it's a great product, but because it actually represents something. It represents that you are forward-thinking, that you're innovative, and it has that Elon halo to it. Elon is a innovative, ambitious leader, and people want to associate themselves with that. As a Tesla owner, it's fine to admit.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
It's the black sheep. It's the black sheep of cars. It's the black sheep of cars here in Edmonton, man.
Listen, why? So I know I gave you the topics beforehand, but the black sheep is a topic. It's the concept.
It is, yeah.
I love the idea of a black sheep. So to me, the black sheep is somebody, I guess when people talk about black sheep, it's usually the individual within a family that people are like, this person's weird, they ignore them. And then I love the idea of a black sheep, coming out of the woodwork, and now they become, the goat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or the sheep in this case. Yeah. And you actually have a song. I love the song, Black Sheep. Tell me a little bit about why you named that track Black Sheep.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, no, I think it was just a story that I wanted to share and figure out what sort of what represents that differentiating person, right? What you're in a group of, especially for me, conservative individuals who don't understand, being creative or rapping or doing some of the art stuff or whatever the case. And I always felt like that sort of outsider, the black sheep within my family. And so that was the idea of, I'm a rap about this because it resonates with me, and I feel like other people can resonate when they're chasing their dreams,
100%.
When they're chasing something that's a startup or something that's not out there, and they feel like the outlier. They feel like, oh, this doesn't feel right. Putting myself out on Instagram, Facebook, social media, this doesn't feel right. They might feel like an imposter.
I love the idea of a black sheep because to me that is actually the description of an innovator, of a disruptor, like that you are somebody that looks like a joke. I've been talking about this idea recently, about this idea of embracing the darkness, that being a black sheep, that you have to be able to go through this period where people look at you differently, they think that you're a joke, and you have to suffer through that until you get to a point where it's like a jump off point where everybody's like, oh, see, I was supporting that. No, you weren't, right? So I love that idea of embracing the darkness. And as a black sheep yourself, like, how long, or are you still in that mud? Are you still considered the black sheep? Like, have you got to that point where that rocket ship has gone off, or do you feel like you're still that disruptor, that black sheep?
No, I still feel the same. I definitely haven't made it in that regard, but I think because I've been posting for so many years that people friends and individuals in my circle are okay with the content. You know, initially that first few years of making music, they're like, oh, what is this guy doing? I don't want to be affiliated with this guy, you know?
Really?
Yeah, like rap. I actually had people on Facebook message me before they unfriended me. They're like, I hate your music. I don't want to be a part of it. It's polluting my feed.
Wow.
Take care. See you later. I remember those messages, man.
Wow.
Especially on my first song. Yeah. Because I was posting and that was when Facebook was the main.
You were on the Russ train, which is like like he was dropping songs all the time.
Yeah. I was posting, and granted, at the time the production wasn't the greatest. You know, the marketing material, the videos and stuff weren't the greatest because I was doing it on my own. But the messages were from people that I knew from high school, uni, and they were like,
wow.
And so like you said, you have to get through that though.
Yeah.
I could have easily stopped and be like, oh, you know what? Maybe he's right. Maybe I don't belong. Maybe I shouldn't rap. Maybe I shouldn't make videos. Maybe this isn't for me.
Do you still feel like that today?
No. I'm comfortable.
How are you comfortable? How did you get to that?
I don't know, 1,000 videos in.
Wow.
Making for other people and myself, constantly putting myself in front of the camera, constantly putting myself in front of a mic.
Yep.
Constantly putting myself in front of trying to do different things and getting out of that comfort zone, because that circle starts to build and you kind of gain this sort of leather sort of, and I'm sure you're the same way. Like you don't even think about the stuff I'm sure, I don't know if you do, but I don't think about the stuff I post on LinkedIn or Instagram, and I'm not looking at individual likes and comments or whatever. I'm like, this content's dope. I know it's dope.
Yep.
I know it's sick.
To me, it's always about what I'm actually concerned about is it's for myself.
Yeah.
It's like, am I proud of this aesthetically? Am I proud of how it looks, how it sounds? I don't care. That's why I'll give you a couple examples. Like today, Neve's been working on something. Neve's my creative lead. She's all the videos that you see edited and stuff like that. She worked on something. We actually worked on it for a couple of weeks. It's just like this carousel post, right? But I'm a psychopath when it comes to how it looks and the aesthetics and the spacing and all that. And so yesterday, like I was coming back from I was in Seattle, and we were just on a call. Like, can you just make sure that the spacing is a little bit? And it's just more for myself.
Yeah.
When I see it, I want to make sure that I'm proud of it. I'm like, I don't want to look back at it and be like, the spacing is off. Another example is, I started to promote this pod yesterday, and I did not care about what the outcome was going to be if everyone is going to follow the Instagram channel of this pod. Like, to be honest with you, I don't care about that. To me, this is a long journey, right? This is like a 10-year journey minimum. So I don't get romantic about the outcome anymore. I just for me, it's like, do I enjoy the process? Am I happy? Am I comfortable with myself with this? If I'm writing something, if I'm putting out a tweet, am I just comfortable with it myself? That's but it's hard to get there.
Yeah, you have to get there.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is you have to. Your first song isn't going to be the hit. In some cases it might be. It might be the viral hit, but 9 times out of 10 it's not going to be.
100%.
9 times out of 10 the production's shit. 9 times out of 10 the video you're producing is off your iPhone, and it's not going to be good. You don't have the resources to pay for a videographer, a creative director, whatever the case may be. But if you can get through that, you can post 100 pods and 50 pods that are shit, but the other 50 you've tweaked. Every podcast that comes once a week, you're tweaking. You're adding this lens, you're adding this light, you're adding this mic, you're adding this. All of a sudden, 100 pods in, now it looks like you have a production team behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But you have to get over that self-doubt.
100%.
The initial products, anything that you post, it has to be, I can't get romantic with the likes and the comments.
And that's why this is the 9th episode, and it looks like this. It doesn't look bad. It still looks good. You look good. You dress well. Still looks good. Yeah. Wells is back here. He's taking pictures. It's gonna look sick.
Yeah.
But I know that 9 episodes in, I'm still trying to figure it out. In fact, if you are listening to this and you are 9 episodes in, God bless you. If you're listening to this, you're 9 episodes in and you're hearing this, I will send you free money. Okay, I'll just put it in a suitcase and I'll just send you some free money. So I appreciate that. but yeah, I'm not getting romantic about the outcome. It's about the process at the end of the day. So I love that we're on the same page on this, man. I want to ask you about this in a similar note, and love these questions because you're somebody that you're posting the journey. We've been working together not only on some video stuff as well. So you're a documentary. Like you do documentaries, you help with documentaries. What do you think about this idea of document the process? Because a lot of people, they want to perfect something and then they want to put that in the world. But what do you think about this idea of document the process?
Well, think of Jeff Bezos, right?
Think of Jeff Bezos.
Imagine if Jeff Bezos was documenting his process building Amazon.
Yes.
Right? Imagine him going into the office by himself with his computer. Oh, today we almost lost the company. You know what I mean? Oh, shit, this happened, that happened. Imagine having those clips today.
Yeah.
20 years later, or however many years later. It'd be incredible. Like how many people would tune in? The Kanye documentary.
Yes. Oh my God.
Unreal.
And if you haven't watched it, the Kanye documentary is literally documenting the process of him, trying to get a deal, right? He's like in the office, rapping to the marketing assistant and saying, "Hey, like listen to this." I mean, it's just incredible to see. But do you think that part of the reason why they are who they are is because they didn't document the process? People didn't see all the warts. They didn't see all the struggle. And, to that point, like they're still successful without documenting the entire process.
Absolutely. I mean, you can be successful without documenting it, but imagine the value and the impact that it would have for someone. You talked about this in one of your recent clips, the grandkids that are going to see this, the great grandkids that are going to see your videos, those moments that you were building this pod, the moments that you were on stage in front of 50 people and now to a crowd internationally, right? Like imagine how much impact that one black sheep in that family is going to look at those videos and be like, fuck it, I got to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That to me is the idea. That to me, the people that I watched Christian Guzman from Alphalete for 5, 6, 7 years, and I just see the trajectory. The moment I get into my head of like, man, should I stop this rap shit? Should I go into something corporate or whatever? I remember the vlogs that I watched where he's sitting there contemplating quitting himself. Wow. But he's posted it. He's been vulnerable on camera. He's told the story, his story, and saying, man, I'm walking around the street talking about my Alphalete shirt and everyone's looking at me like I'm an idiot walking around with my vlog.
Yeah.
And he's nobody at that time.
Yeah.
He's not what he is today. And I think that's the reason is other people will be inspired. Other people will be inspired 100%. And other people will look at your journey and be like, damn, he's actually taking this risk. He's actually being bold. He's being fucking dangerous, man.
Yeah,
you know
I love
what I mean?
that. So you're a fan of the idea of document the process. And I am as well, by the way. I love the idea of document the process. And I did want to bring up, thanks for watching that video of my dad. I was actually at this CPA convocation and I'm speaking to a whole bunch of kids who and some of them are not kids, but they just graduated. They got their CPA. And my father, he never made it to my convocation. I had my CPA. He never made it to my convocation. He died during Mod 5. There's 6 modules in the CPA. He never saw me become a CPA. He never came to that convocation. He never saw my kids. He never saw me get married. He never saw anything. He never saw anything. Can you imagine living your entire life and you're raising these kids and you don't see what they're meant to do? You don't see how they're going to serve the world. Yeah. It's a tragedy.
It is, yeah.
And what I was telling the audience is that everything is going to be different with my kids and my great-grandkids because now we're documenting everything. Everything is in 4K. Literally, they can see this. They can see where I got to. And that could be incredibly inspiring to say, this guy, Shawn, my great-great-grandfather, this guy was like in the basement And now he's here. And that could be incredibly inspiring. And we can only do this today in 4K. Imagine we actually have a documentary film crew in our pocket. So if you had a documentary film crew in your pocket, are you gonna watch Netflix? Or are you gonna go out and do what you wanna do in your entire life, right? And I think that's incredibly inspiring. Yeah. And I believe not only in documenting the process, but we're already doing it. So like our future generations are watching us.
They are.
We shouldn't just waste it.
Absolutely.
Because they're gonna look back and be like, damn, my great grandfather, he was a lazy, mofo, right? Yeah. I think it's incredibly inspiring.
Yeah, and like I said, like that nine out of 10 people are gonna skip our videos.
Yes.
That one person is gonna look at that and be and he's just gonna be hooked.
100%.
And he's just gonna be thinking about what he can do. 100%. And that person is gonna change something or impact something.
100%.
And that's what it's for.
And there, what I was saying was that, when we have those Apple Vision Pros on, you're right. We're gonna skip through most of the moments, but we're actually gonna watch the moments where I think, like my great grandkids are gonna watch the moments where like I was super vulnerable and talking about things that I was super vulnerable about, and number two, they're gonna watch like the highest moments. They're gonna watch those moments. Those are the two that they're gonna watch.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I think on that note, I think it's important to capture those moments and capture the moments of your incredible highs, and I think it's important to capture those most vulnerable moments, because not only I think does that show document the process like truly, like being truly authentic, but I think that's the most helpful. And you just talked about it, and that hit my soul. The fact that you watched this guy and you watched his rise and the journey of where he's been at, and the reason why he has such a deep relationship with his audience is because they fucked with him since day one.
Yep.
And that's incredibly inspiring.
Yeah, and everybody wants to know. They want to know where you're, like, if you're watching, you want to know where this person's going, and you're hooked to see if he can actually attain this goal. Yeah. He's talking about building a gym. He doesn't have the money. Oh, okay, what is he going to do? Yeah. The question is this hero going to get to his goal? Is he going to pass, the things that he's saying? Even now, like he, again, released 10 goals, and they're just incredibly high, like absurdly high. And you're like, there's no way that this guy's going to achieve this in 10 years, but you're hooked. You want to watch the next vlog, or you want to watch the next video because he's slowly chipping away at that, right? So I think it's being vulnerable, or expressing yourself, or telling people your goals and telling people where you are and where you want to head to. Is very vulnerable and is very risky, but it's incredibly entertaining. It's incredibly fulfilling to see someone go through that journey.
100%.
Right?
That's why I find Gary Vee's journey so fascinating, because he set out a goal like right away, saying he wants to buy the jets, right? And that's like the hero's journey to say, will this guy be able to buy it? And over time, like he continues to be successful, continues to build his empire, and wouldn't it be just magical at the end when he's like, in the next number of years that he goes off and he actually does that? To me, that's like, and we've seen him document that process. We've seen him say that. Actually, one of the most inspiring things that I saw over the last couple of weeks is I watched the Arnold documentary.
Oh yeah,
it's in the last podcast too. This documentary is incredibly inspiring because there is a filmmaker, and then he asks him at certain moments, "What's next?" He's literally in the car, and he's like, "I think I'm going to try acting." Like he's become the GOAT of bodybuilding, and he's saying, "I think I'm going to try acting," and he's talking about his ambitions to be an amazing actor. And guess what? He became the GOAT in the 80s when it came to acting. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredibly inspiring. Yeah, he said that and he did it.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is you got to have that sort of clarity on your vision and what you want.
Yeah.
And if you're able to express it and say it, it doesn't have to be in front of a camera crew, but if you can say it and really, really like align with it, sky's the limit. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. So I just believe that you're going to be incredibly busy in the future, because everybody's going to be creating documentaries of themselves, and then you could be like, who's gonna edit all this thing together?
Yeah, exactly, straight up.
So one of the points that I wanted to bring up, because we chat a lot about podcasts, and I put this in your head, and I think you said that this was a shift in your mind.
It was, yeah.
And listen, to be honest with you, when's the last time somebody changed their mind on something? And the thing that I told you, and this is what I believe full-heartedly, that people follow people at the end of the day. They're not following the fame. They're not following the other shit around them. They follow that individual. They fall in love with that particular individual. And as it pertains to podcasting. So a couple things that I showed you that I think changed your perspective on things. I showed you a famous person starting a podcast, getting other famous people on. This is actually Russell Peters. Russell Peters started a podcast. I love Russell Peters. Started a podcast. It didn't look great, but fine. He got other famous people on, but nobody was interested, right? At the same time, I showed you another guy that I know, and I love him. I'm not going to say his name, but he has a lot of famous people, like the most famous people on his podcast as like his guests. Yet that pod doesn't go anywhere. But the pods that go places are the pods where it's actually about the person, right? It's about the host. They can have guests on and whatnot, but really it's about the individual. And it's not about getting the famous guests. They might give you a little bit of a bump. It's not about having a pod with just famous people. It's just about you. And I feel like that YouTube algorithm will just keep serving you that particular individual, and then you will just build an affinity with that person. And I think this was a mindset shift for you.
It was, brother. Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I was thinking about, what haven't we done with the pod? I've done everything in my power to do different things, bring on certain guests, other than bringing on an A-list celebrity.
So give me an example of somebody that you thought was super famous, and you don't have to name them by name.
Yeah.
But like you're like, oh man, like they got a big following.
Yeah.
But it didn't do anything for them.
That we brought on.
For you, yeah.
Like that we brought on the pod?
Yeah, you brought on the pod. You're like, oh, wow. And you thought in your mind, oh, my God, we're bringing this girl or guy on. It's going to wait, guys, just wait for it, man. The pod's going to go crazy.
Well, we brought on LA director Jacob Owens.
Yeah.
So he's worked with Tyga, he's worked with Wale, he's worked with all these like big rappers, individuals in California, right? Artists, big names.
Yep.
He's got a big production company. He's got 6 or 7 film studios. He's got his own film product company. This guy's done it all in the film space, in the production space. Like he's a GOAT, right? And I one day woke up and I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna just message him. I'm gonna DM him.
Okay.
It's like, we have a pod, we're a Canadian podcast, sent him a paragraph. And he's like, I'm in. And I was like, oh shit, it was that easy. He just said, I'm in. 2 words. And I was like,
wow.
Oh, this is sick. Cause I've, again, followed this guy for years. Yep. I've bought his products. Like I'm like, how has he built these 6 or 7 studios in LA and Arizona and all these things? And so I was hyped. I was like, oh man, this is going to get some views because a lot of he's got engagement. He's got a lot of people following him, et cetera, et cetera. So I thought that pod was going to blow. It has a couple hundred views on YouTube right now. I mean, everything that he's saying is dope. Like the content is good, but it didn't hit as much as I thought it was going to.
Yeah. And
not only that, he didn't share it as much, which is okay. Like he doesn't have to. He has 200,000 or 300,000 followers on Instagram and I think 800,000 900,000 on YouTube. He's like 900,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I was like, oh, okay. If he even shares a few clips, like this should get a couple thousand views, and it didn't. And so that was kind of like a moment of like, it didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it goes back to it that, I think just focusing on people building a relationship with you at the end of the day is the most important piece. Like this is the only reason why I started this podcast is because I believe that in order for me to make the biggest impact for people to embrace the idea of dangerous ideas, concepts that will literally change their life, that they have to believe in me. They have to know me.
Yeah.
It's not about, no offense. I love having you on. Just
absolutely.
But this is not about you. This is about me. And actually, most importantly, it's about the ideas. That's why it's not an interview.
Exactly.
Actually, you've done some amazing things in your life, and you're an amazing filmmaker. You're an amazing rapper. You're amazing, just human and business owner. And I didn't talk about any of that stuff because it's not important to the audience. It's about the ideas, and I want to be the vehicle to those particular ideas.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So agree with me on this, that if you get Kendall Jenner tomorrow on the Second Floor podcast, that how many views do you think you'd get?
Oh man, Kendall Jenner? I mean, she's huge, so maybe a couple thousand.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
A couple thousand. That's it.
Yeah.
That's and I agree with you.
Yeah.
Listen, if Kendall Jenner was on my pod today, I'd probably get 80, okay?
Yeah.
And that's the reality of it. You will see, like, go on YouTube and you will look at some of the most famous people on the planet, and you will find videos of them with nobody listening to them because that particular host or that particular show, it doesn't have a connection with that particular audience. So it's just, the only thing that matters is the person. Yeah. There are people that I listen to on Spotify or YouTube, and they're just because the algorithm has fed me their stuff, and I start watching it. There's a guy on The Volume. It's like a sports channel. Follow this guy. His name is Jason. I think his name. See, that's crazy. I think his name is Jason. He just does these emergency podcasts on all these NBA trades, and I follow him. I follow his insights. I believe in his insights. He's smart. He's intelligent. He has a great product, and that's the only thing that matters.
True, that's facts. I follow a guy named Patrick Bet-David. I'm sure you've seen his stuff on it. Yeah. He brought on Andrew Tate recently. But I follow the pod because of him.
Yep.
Because I mess with his business stuff. He's been making business videos for years, entrepreneurship videos for years.
Yeah.
Before he even had a podcast.
He's definitely had a crazy growth.
Yeah.
PBD, right?
PBD podcast. Yeah. But I was hooked from the stuff that I was learning from him initially. Yep. So now when he dropped a podcast, now when he's doing valuetainment, like production and all these things, I'm tuning in.
Yeah.
And that's because of him.
Right.
That's because of his trajectory, his thoughts, his ideas. I mess with what he talks about. And so now when he brings on Andrew Tate, of course I'm going to tune in and listen to Andrew Tate, but I'm only tuning in because I've subscribed to PBD.
Right. You would have you wouldn't have listened to his Andrew Tate pod if it was just.
No, I want to see how he interacts with Andrew. I want to see what his thoughts are.
Right.
I want to see how he bounces off.
100%.
So.
And I think that's great. And by the way, you don't have to agree with everything that PBD says or no. For example, I think this is something that people fall into trap with. You can listen to somebody but not believe in everything that they say. You just listen to it because that's what other people are listening to. Like Joe Rogan's a really great example. I listen to Joe Rogan. I don't agree with Joe Rogan's stance on things, on vaccines or this and that. But I listen to him because he asks really dumb, curious questions to people that are interesting. Yeah. And I'm open to that. I'm open to curiosity. And I want to know everything that the left is thinking, and the right, and the middle, and the alt-right, and the alt-left. Like, I want to get all the views.
Yeah, yeah. And that's facts, man. 100%.
I think we one of the problems that we have in our society today is that immediately when somebody says, anybody that they listen to, we automatically put them at camp, right? We're like, somebody says Patrick Bet-David, and we, that immediately, like, oh, you listen to PBD, like, oh my God, like, I don't even know what people would say about that, but like, they put you in a particular camp.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, you watch the Kardashians, oh, you're like in a particular camp. Like, we're so quick to judge folks and who they watch or listen to, when in reality we're just like sponges. We're just like seeing and just, I don't know, just getting all this news, and we can't just judge people based on the people that they listen to.
That's the hardest thing, man, is to listen to the other side.
Yes.
The hardest thing is to listen to the other side, and again, Andrew Tate's a perfect example. To sit and listen to the 4-hour, 5-hour podcast that PBD did, and just listen
Yes.
Of course, maybe 80% of it you might disagree with, but just to listen to see what he says.
Yeah.
And, multiple times he said in that interview, and again, I don't believe in what I don't follow Andrew Tate, whatever, but a lot of the things he says is stuff that's opposite to what people think. Right? Initially of him, right?
100%.
So, and again, I'm not judging or whatever, but it's like, if you can, in this day and age, it's tough to listen to the other side and just listen.
100%.
Just not judge, not get emotional, not get, no. It's just like, there's always going to be the opposite. There's always going to be yin and yang.
100%. Yeah, you have to be able to flirt with some of the ideas that actually challenge your existing narratives and your existing beliefs. This is why this podcast is called Dangerous Ideas, because, you might disagree with it. Mm-hmm. And by the way, the most dangerous idea in the world is that actually Andrew Tate is right on a whole bunch of different topics, and then people have to they have to sit with that, right? Mm-hmm. And just like how there are terrible people on the planet that you just disagree with, but some of the stuff that you can believe in. I'll give you an example of this. People they will paint somebody in a particular light, and they'll be like, "Oh, you listen to that person is racist, or that person is." Guess what? I listen to my mother and all my aunties and uncles. They are the most racist people on the planet. Yet
straight up,
they are.
Yeah.
The stuff that I've heard an entire generation of old brown people say is the most racist, misogynistic, toxic stuff that I've ever heard in my entire life. But guess what? I love them. And I can detach that from them. I understand the context of where they grew up and their upbringing. And so I don't believe everything that they say. I don't believe what they say in terms of the color of their skin, of what they say with other people and their colors of their skin color. When a baby is born, it's like, oh, that baby's really dark, right?
Yeah.
That's what people say.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? That's what 100%. People say. So if you can love your uncles and aunties and know that they are racist, then you can also love Joe Rogan and understand that, he doesn't like this whole vaccine thing. He's anti-vaccine. He's anti, science in some sort of ways. But you can like the other parts of him.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We like our parents.
Yeah.
I'm just so baffled by it.
It is, man. It is. Yeah. No, 100%.
So listen, I want to get your just quick take. I don't know if you've been following this. I didn't prep you on this, but what's your thoughts on this? Did you see this OceanGate story?
I did, yeah.
About the submarine that sort of went down. There was 5 billionaires and a kid that went down, and then it was on the news everywhere. I couldn't get my eyes off of this news of these billionaires being stuck in this submarine trying to look for the ruins of the Titanic. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh man, yeah, no, it's crazy. It's unfortunate. It's a tragedy for sure.
Yes.
But when they went into the personalities of these guys, right, these billionaires, right, you could tell that they are risk takers.
Right.
They're the guys that are bold, and they've done some crazy things in their life, and they've taken enormous amount of risk. So, of course, 100% they knew what the risks were.
Yeah.
They signed that document to get on the submarine. So they are the bold ones.
Wow, this was not a take that I like it. I like it.
They are, man.
I like it. This is a dangerous idea.
It's a dangerous idea. You can do. There's a lot of things that can risk your life.
100%.
There's a lot of things that you can put yourself into jeopardy, and they weren't thinking about the risks.
100%.
They were thinking about the opportunity.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my take in terms of
interesting. Listen. If I'm a billionaire, I'm putting myself in a bubble, bitch, just so that I'm not going no submarine. I'm not going down to the water. I'm not dropping from the sky.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna stick here with my kids. You know what I mean? But no, there is something to be said about the fact that they are the bold ones, that they took a risk. So I appreciate that. Yeah. Last thing that I want to ask you about, which was around there's a fight that might happen. Probably won't happen, but there's a fight that might happen between Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. In fact, this is what happened. You might not know this, but somebody put out like a tweet talking about, hey, Elon, Elon said something about Mark Zuckerberg. I don't really know how it happened, but Elon was essentially like, I'll fight Zuckerberg, right? And Zuckerberg took that tweet and essentially said, like, send the location. And I think that's a famous reference to Connor and I think Khabib said send location or something. Anyways, so Zuckerberg's ready to fight Elon. Who do you have in a fight between Elon and Mark Zuckerberg?
Oh, Elon all day.
You got Elon?
I got Elon.
Oh, wow.
I got Elon.
No, I think Mark Zuckerberg has it. Number one, not only is he fit and he's actually training, but
Elon's Rocky.
Elon's Rocky.
Elon's gonna get knocked down, but he's not gonna give up. He ain't gonna quit. That persistent. I'm banking on his persistence.
I can see Elon, like, just like if it's like WWF, I can see Elon, I don't know, for some reason, like cheating, like he's in a corner, he gets like a chair while the ref's not looking and he hits Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know why. That's what I can see. No, but I got Zuck all day. I give, to me, Mark Zuckerberg has changed my life more than anybody else, I think, more than Elon. Although Elon has worked on some really big things, like what I use Mark Zuckerberg's products all day long. You drive a Tesla is different. So I got to give love to the guy that has Insta, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Thank you, Mark Zuckerberg. I really appreciate you. Yeah. And no, but I got Zuck in this. And by the way, it's funny because Dana White came out and he said he like talked to both guys and they're actually serious about it. So that would be the biggest fight ever.
It would
Mark
be.
Zuckerberg versus Elon Musk.
Yeah. Do you think if one of them loses, it drops the stock?
So that's that. I actually 100% agree because Elon Musk, part of the reason why Tesla is so popular is because of Elon. Elon is the vehicle. It's not Tesla. Tesla is the product, but Elon is actually the vehicle. You are driving an Elon Musk. That's what you are driving.
Yeah.
And if Elon loses to the geeky kid that built that thing called Facebook, and if he loses and is pinned by Mark Zuckerberg, it is absolutely going to change the narrative of the most innovative, most ambitious entrepreneur of all time, which is Elon Musk. So absolutely it's going to hurt the narrative.
If Elon loses, I'm selling my Tesla. I'm selling it.
Okay, you heard it here first. He's going to... But who would be a good tag team, by the way? Let's just end it off. Who do you think Elon should tag team with Zuck? Who should be Zuck's tag team partner? Who should be Elon's tag team partner in the WWF match?
Oh, damn. I mean, first person that comes up is like Logan Paul, KSI.
Wow.
One of them should... Wow. They should split. One should go with Logan. The other should go with KSI. That'd be a crazy match.
I love that. I love that idea. Well, listen, I think, personally... Mark Zuckerberg, he should partner up with one of the Indian guys, Sundar Pichai or Satya Nadella. Get one of them. Get the other Indian guy on the other side, so it's balanced.
Yeah.
But then, like, I think what would happen in this tag team match is like when Zuckerberg is like winning or something like that, the ref is turned around. What's going to happen is that the Winklevoss twins, they're going to come out of nowhere and they're going to bash Zuckerberg across the head, and then the ref's not going to look. They're going to turn around. Elon's going to get the pin. That's what's going to happen.
It's going to be a full night of entertainment, bro.
Well, listen, man, I really appreciate you coming on Dangerous Ideas. You actually brought a whole bunch of dangerous ideas to the table, so I really, really appreciate it. And where can people follow you, man?
Dude, I'm hyped, man. First of all, subscribe to the Dangerous Pod.
Whoa!
First of all, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you're listening to this.
You're
YouTube.
You're doing my
I'm throwing on you.
That's what I do.
YouTube, Dangerous Pod. Dangerous. Yeah, man. I think, I'm on all platforms at Qashus, Qashus. Anyone wants to follow me, find my stuff, videos, all that. So.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, like he said, okay? I'm going to clip that. I'm going to put that at the end or the beginning. You can follow this. Dangerous Ideas, again, breaks down concepts that will change your life. Thank you so much for listening. Next up is episode 10. We made it to 10. And I think once you make it to 10, I don't know what happens. Like the balloons fall down and like you make it. I think most episodes don't make it to 10.
It is,
Most podcasts don't make it to 10.
I think that's the stat, yeah.
Love it. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you, man.